This is lesson 21, and I'm going to introduce the concept of counting out loud. An important skill to practice is just being able to maintain a steady pulse and a steady subdivided pulse. One good way of practicing an unsubdivided beat, sometimes we call it the big beat, is simply to put the metronome on at various speeds and try putting that beat into your body, either in the form of clapping or tapping your foot or even speaking that pulse. So let's set the metronome at 90, and we're just going to clap that pulse. 1, 2, ready, clap. 1, 2, ready, stop. Sometimes, especially when reading more complex rhythms, instead of only keeping track of the big pulse beats, we want to keep track of a subdivided pulse. This might mean that instead of only tracking 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we choose to also track halfway through those beats. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So far, in order to talk about those half beat notes, we've used the syllables do, day. So first of all, let's try to do that. We're going to put the big beat into our hands again, but this time we're going to have our mouths say a steady stream of do days, of half beat notes, so we can practice keeping both a big beat and a subdivided beat. So here's our clapped beat. Ready, clap. And now let's say our half beat notes. Ready, go. Do day, 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 do. So far, I've shared the Gordon rhythm syllables as a way of speaking a one pulse note, do, 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 half beat pulses, do day, do day, do day, do day, and then quarter beat pulses, do-ta, data, do-ta, data, do-ta, data, do-ta, data. While the Gordon rhythm syllables are really well thought out and they're going to be very useful for us as we continue to work on our reading skills together, I did want to make sure I share with you another very conventional way of tracking pulse and subdivided pulse in music. So essentially, we can assign a number to each beat in the measure. So if we're in 4/4 time, where the top number, the 4, tells us that there are 4 beats in a measure, we would simply say 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is especially helpful for instrumentalists because essentially then our mouth becomes our beat or pulse keeper and our body realizes the rhythm. So far, we have always kept the beat in our bodies in some way by clapping or by tapping our foot, and then we have vocalized the rhythm. So when we count out loud, we're actually reversing those roles. We're letting our mouth be our beat or pulse keeper, that independent, steady, recurring pulse that's predictable. And then our hands usually are realizing the rhythm. So for example, I could be saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. My hands could be playing different rhythms while my mouth is staying stable with a steady pulse. So just to introduce you to this concept, we're not going to be primarily using this in our work together, but I want to share it with you. We'll set the metronome at 90, and we're just going to count the beat out loud. We're going to count 4 beats. 1, 2, ready, count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can also use that same basic method to count a subdivided pulse. And you've probably heard this at some point in your past. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So just like our do stayed with do day, do day, do day, do day, now our numbers stay right on the pulse. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So setting the metronome at 90, let's just say our half beat pulse. So 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We've used decode to talk about quarter beat notes. So decode, where each syllable is worth just 1/4 of a beat. In the counting method, there's also some syllables. So 1E and 1E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. So let's set the metronome to 50, a little bit slower, and do your best to just get these syllables out. 2, ready, go. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. So if this seems very easy, it's because we're not also realizing a rhythm in our hands. So once you layer on the rhythm on top of the mouth keeping the pulse, it's the same level of difficulty as the other method we've been using. It's just a reversal of roles. So the advantage of this method is that you're right away keeping track of where you are in the measure. This is especially helpful when we're playing in a group, and in case you make a mistake, you can still track where you are in the measure, and you can then catch up with everybody else or jump in at the right time. So that's a definite advantage over a method like do day, do day, do day, do day, because while that's doing the same thing in terms of giving us a subdivided pulse, it's not keeping track of which beat we're on in the measure. Even though the method we're using to learn about beat and pulse and rhythm is a little bit different than the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and way of tracking pulse in music, you're going to find that if you can master this concept of keeping track of the beat or pulse in one part of our body and then realizing rhythm in another part of our body, you're going to be able to transfer those skills to the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and approach if you ever want to head in that direction. So full disclosure, when I'm teaching violinists in person, I absolutely use the counting method. So we count out loud at the same time that we're playing. And that's my preferred method. I have used Gordon syllables in other contexts before, and I think it's a really good method for vocalists, which a lot of people watching these videos and learning to read music will be vocalists, so it works well. It also does work for instrumentalists, and like I said, the skills are transferable. You'll be able to pick up the counting method no problem once you understand these concepts and master the skill of separating rhythm and pulse. But the primary reason I chose this method, using Gordon syllables and clapping or tapping the beat, is because it's the only way I could really figure out to do it in this video format. So in order to be able to show you the rhythm and track along with you while we realize a rhythm, that was really the only feasible method. The clapping and counting out loud method doesn't work quite as well in this context.
We're going to be returning to Rhythm Workshop by Sally K. So I just want to give you a little bit of a taste of what it's like to count the pulse or beat out loud while we clap the rhythm in our hands. So just reversing the role of our mouths and our hands. Now our mouth is going to be the timekeeper or the beat keeper, and our hands are going to realize the rhythm on the page. We'll still begin by looking at our time signature. The top number of our 4/4 time signature tells us there are 4 beats in a measure. This is particularly important now because now we know we're going to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom number tells us, think of it as the denominator of a fraction, that a quarter note equals 1 beat. And from there we can assign specific beat values to our note and rest value pyramid. So 1 beat per quarter note and quarter rest, 2 beats for half notes, 4 beats for whole notes, and half a beat for each eighth note and eighth rest. So we're going to be looking at exercise 1 in the 4/4 section of the book. This is an exercise we did right at the beginning of our work together. I won't be able to track along with my green pen like I usually do. And that's the reason actually I have not used this method up until this point. But I do think you're totally capable of handling this now. So we're going to set the metronome at 80. And I'm now going to put that beat into my mouth. So I'm going to say 1, 2, ready, count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, clap. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that as well for example 2. So again, metronome at 80. I'm going to start by just speaking the pulse. 1, 2, ready, speak. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, clap. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to jump ahead here to exercise 56 in the 3/4 section of the book now. So looking at our time signature, the top number tells us that there are 3 beats per measure in this 3/4 time signature. So using this counting method now of keeping track of the pulse, we're going to be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the bottom number, thinking of it as the denominator of a fraction, again, tells us a quarter note equals 1 beat. We're not going to break down our pyramid right now. We're just going to try this example. So I'm going to set the metronome at 80. Again, we're going to let our mouth now count the pulse and keep track of that pulse through the note values and through the rest values we see on the page, and our hands are going to realize the rhythm we see on the page by clapping on the note values and by resting during the rest values. So counting the pulse, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, clap. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to continue with example 2. One other reason this could be a helpful skill just to internalize and become a little bit familiar with as vocalists, even if you are going to primarily think of Gordon rhythm syllables to help you track pulse, is that this can be a really helpful way of keeping track of longer measures of rest. So if you have 8 measures in a row of rests, it can be a helpful way to count through them and make sure you're keeping track of the pulse accurately. So again, continuing with example 2, 1, ready, count. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, clap. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
If anybody wants me to do additional videos or lessons about this alternate way of tracking pulse and subdivisions of the pulse in music, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to do that. For the time being, we're going to stick with how we've been doing things, putting the beat into our bodies in some way or another, and then vocalizing the rhythm that we see on the page.